Well, our reporter Lerato Fekisi is also in Mthatha for us today at today's day of mourning in remembrance of the lives lost in the recent floods. We cross live now to her for an update. Lerato, a very good afternoon to you. Understandably, also a very heartbreaking period for the people of the Eastern Cape, especially for those in Mthatha. Just take us through the day's events.
A very good afternoon to you, Nati. It's an absolutely heartbreaking afternoon. We saw loved ones, in particular during the candlelighting ceremony, where each member of representing each family was asked to come forward to hold a candle. And then when they were asked to blow it out, signifying the end of life, we saw many family members break down in tears, because perhaps now it became real that their loved ones are no more. We also saw people from the community also breaking down, because even though this has not directly affected everyone in Mthatha, but the community is still reeling from what they call one of the worst disasters to have hit Mthatha. We then had the Minister of Human Settlement, Ms. Simalani, speaking to the residents here in Mthatha, speaking to the families in particular, and really assuring them that as they have been with them since day one when this happened, in terms of being in various sectors of government, such as Home Affairs, Minister of Human Settlement, the disaster team, the EMS team, Department of Education has been here also since day one. She also assured them that this is going to carry on, that the support they've seen in the past week, if anything, is going to intensify to try and help the many victims go back to normality in whatever their way looks like. She also did offer support from national governments, and the President also did come from Mthatha to offer his condolences, to look at the extent of damage and see how through the various sectors of government they can help these people rebuild their lives again. Then we had the acting Premier today, Mr. Mthatha, who spoke on behalf of the provincial government, really appealing to those who have been tasked to take care of those that are destitute, not to loot, not to try and take the resources that are allocated for the victims and keep them for themselves. And this unity comes from allegations on the ground that certain councillors, certain people in power have been hoarding blankets, hoarding resources in their own capacity, in their own houses or storehouses, and not taking them to the victims. And Mr. Mthatha spoke very harshly on that, urging that whatever resource have been allocated to people must actually go to the people and not to the government officials, and also pleading with those in the community to also bring forward those who are now called the water mafias, who also have been trying to extort and also try and victimize gift to the givers. Ms. Mthatha, you spoke very strongly about the resources that are not going to the people, saying that whatever funds, whatever resources have been allocated to the people, people must make sure that those go to those that need it the most.
Yes, I spoke. The reason why I spoke about it is because there have been negative publicity about some incidents where some business people believe that all that came from gift of the givers and the others should have been gone their way for them to make money out of it. Also that there have been food parcels that have not been distributed. But ours is a plea because this is a collective effort from government and all spheres of government. A collective effort that includes municipalities, traditional leaders, churches, and everybody. So we are pleading for unity to ensure that those that have been affected by the disaster are able to get back on their feet under assistance. Because assistance actually is coming from everywhere, and in huge donations that we are having, whether you're talking food, blankets, or anything else. So there's a lot of donations, but we are pleading that it should not go in some other corners rather than benefiting those people. So that's the reason why I was pleading, because of these two incidents that were reported to us. The Premier spoke about it even last night to everyone, spoke about this because we feel strongly that it's a disservice to people that have been affected by such a huge disaster.
MEC, in your speech you also spoke about the learning curves, or the lessons learned. Every time there is a disaster of such nature, provincial government, people come together to say, what can we learn to do better next time? What do you think are some of the learnings that you have got from this disaster, one of the biggest the Eastern Cape has experienced, that you now take forward to ensure that should anything like this in future happen, certain things will probably be done better?
Even prior to the disaster itself, this is, we learned from this disaster. Let me say that. On that, the traditional leaders and municipal councils must really pay attention to people who build structures in areas where they're not supposed to. Because that's one of the reasons why we're in this disaster. That was a floodplain. There shouldn't have been people there. So if traditional leaders allocate land in such a situation or a municipality, then we should, as the province, intervene. This is one thing that we have learned. It teaches that we should not wait and say it is the authority lies with the municipality. When we see something like this, it means now we must start acting as well. So that's one of the lessons going forward. But also, there has to be a lot of education to our people. When floods come, some of the people that actually perished, even the bus driver, when you can see, I mean, the MS would tell me that you can see that the water is rising and you decide, let me just try my luck. So it also tells us that for these disasters, we need a lot of public education to people. So that when the floods hit or there's so much rain, what do you do? We should not just believe that people will know what to do because some perished because they did not have information. But thirdly, what it also teaches us, it becomes easier if you work all together as indiscriminate as spheres of government, but also cooperation with the private sector, because that's one of the reasons why we managed to, a lot of other people we managed to be saved, and also we managed to provide some resources to these people because of the cooperation that is between churches. Some of the churches, even today, the bishops were visiting these families. So churches, traditional leaders, government, so cooperation is important, and we should work together in ensuring that such situations become not regular or frequent in our province in terms of trying to rescue those that have been affected.
Well, that was the MEC of Finance and Economics, Mr. Mthatha, who was actually the acting premier and part of, and the place of Oscar Mabuyane, speaking about some of the learning curves, what lessons they take back from this disaster, saying that number one, the importance of ensuring that when traditional leaders hand out land to people, they should ensure that they first consult government to ensure that people are not building on a floodplain. Also speaking about the importance of various sectors of government coming together to ensure that when such things happen, it's a joint cooperative working of various sectors to ensure that much of the disaster or the after effects are minimalized. Also speaking about the issue of public awareness and public education, to say the importance of going out to communities and informing them should a flood occur, should heavy rains occur, what should be the next step for community members to ensure that people don't stay in flood-prone areas, number one, and then secondly, when the rain does come, don't continue to stay there but rather go to places of safety. So saying it has been a tragedy of unmeasurable damage, but saying that from it there are definitely lessons to be learned going forward to ensure then when such things happen again because of the extent of maybe climate change, that at least by this time they have lessons learned to ensure that they safeguard the residents who have been so badly affected. So that's a wrap from us here in Mthatha, where we have been covering from the morning the tragedy which was the provincial mourning, bringing a closure perhaps to some families, but to some who are still waiting for their loved ones, not closure at all, and praying that the next couple of days their loved ones will be found.